I'm sorry, in the sense of personal frailties or in the sense of his security?
In the sense of his security, or in the sense of trying to build some sort of operation against him? What holes would you look for in his operation?
Well, let me point recent history, and that is that Miriam Al-Qansi, who murdered CIA employees outside the headquarters some years ago, was captured inside Afghanistan, and that capture was effected because Afghans assisted. However monstrous the Taliban may have been portrayed in the past, and however negative our feelings might be about those that are supporting bin Laden at this time, inside Afghanistan as well as in Pakistan and elsewhere, there have to be people who are horrified by this. There have to be cracks in the total loyalty of his supporters, and I'm confident that over time, if it hasn't already happened, there will be substantial intelligence and there'll be substantial cooperation from those people close to him with the United States or indirectly with Pakistan. And his security over time is got to erode. I would say that he was at his safest on the morning of the 11th of September, and every day after that, his personal security position has got to erode.
You had been quoted a couple years back as saying that you believed his money was running out, his vast wealth that has been reported so greatly in the Western press. Was that a miscalculation, or was money a necessary element of this operation?
Well, his money was running out in a sense, but he still unquestionably has multiple millions of dollars. The unfortunate thing about this monstrous action in the murders of so many people in New York is that it would not necessarily be expensive. The one comment that's been made is that, in fact, you could mount this operation for the cost of a upper middle class home in any major metropolitan area in the United States.
I need to interrupt you because we are going to run out of time, Mr. Anderson, and I want to get back to this point that we started with, and if I can get you to narrow on this. You had noted that you felt that he was less safe now than he might have been a week ago, before September 11th. Why is Osama bin Laden less safe today than he was a week ago?
Let me reiterate that what we're dealing with are countries and organizations and people whom we have to measure on their willingness and their ability to help us in getting at him. And however much some of his close and most fanatical supporters may have been encouraged by what happened and strengthened in their resolve to protect and assist him, there are others who have to have been horrified by the monstrosity of what he had done or what has been done in his name, or at least with his cooperation. And moreover, now that the resolve of the United States has become so clear, and the long-term prospects for any nation or any organization, for that matter, or any individual who picks the other side in this war on terrorism are becoming increasingly clear. And I'm confident that the number of penetrations of his organization, the number of penetrations of the Taliban and others who are supporting him are going to grow.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to leave it there, Mr. Anderson. Frank Anderson is the former CIA chief of the Afghan task force. We appreciate your insight today.
Thank you.
And now back to Bill in New York. Bill.
Joey, thank you. Coming up here, the very latest on the investigation, the latest on the hunt for those responsible, and the latest on those already under arrest. Also coming up, the airlines. What's next? Are new layoffs headed next? And is Congress ready for a bailout? That and more when we continue here.
The search for life and loved ones continues as President Bush promises victory against terrorism. For complete coverage, stay with CNN.
There are 2 easy ways to order pay-per-view from Dish On Demand. With your remote, or for $1 more, use our Touchtone ordering system. Tune into channels 455 through 525, then call 1-877-778-MOVI for movies, 363-EVNT for sports and events, or 778-ADLT for adult. Tonight, enjoy the best in pay-per-view programming from Dish On Demand. ESPN Game Plan is Maximum College Football from Dish on Demand. More than 100 games from the Big Ten, Pac-10, ACC, SEC, Big 12, Big East, and Mountain West conferences. Order the season package before September 30th, and you'll automatically be entered to win a trip for two to the ESPN College Bowl game of your choice. Call 1-800-333-DISH or 1-877-363-EVNT. Game Plan College Football, baby. Pow! Oh, yeah.
This is CNN.
This is a complete broadband solution with a Nitro-powered on switch. This is igniting your mission-critical applications on the fattest optical IP pipe on the planet. This is your business, screaming 1,000 times faster than yesterday. This is moving beyond connected. This is riding the light. This is the technology that makes it happen. Quest. Ride the light.
There is a venture capitalist out there with hundreds of millions of dollars for technology firms. Startups, expansions, firms with new ideas, all in a friction-free business environment. Why would a venture capitalist work this way? Because they're convinced that technology is a can't-miss investment. And they'll do whatever it takes to help companies succeed. Who is this venture capitalist?
Pennsylvania.
Once again, welcome back to New York City. I'm Bill Hemmer. More coming up from here, but first to Joey Chen in Atlanta and the latest developments thus far today. Joey?
Bill, first up here, after a drop of nearly 700 points, the stock market closed below 9,000 for the first time since 1998. And at the closing bell, there was this bad news. U.S. Airways expected to cut 11,000 jobs, just the latest announcement of airline layoffs since the hijackings on Tuesday. Airline executives are to meet with members of Congress tomorrow about the possibility of a multi-billion-dollar federal bailout. The FBI is now investigating 40 apparent attacks aimed at Muslim Americans as the possible hate crimes. One of the attacks occurred overnight in Ohio when a man allegedly plowed his car into a mosque. However, he injured no one but himself. President Bush says the country will not stand for intimidation of Muslim Americans. Also today from President Bush, more harsh words for Osama bin Laden. Mr. Bush says bin Laden remains the government's #1 suspect for the terror attacks last Tuesday that claimed thousands of lives. The president said America will win the war on terrorism, but warned there will be costs. Touched on the problem of the airlines from the U.S. Attorney General today, a message about airline security.
Each day as flights increase, we will be adding additional enforcement officials from the Department of Justice as air marshals on planes, in addition to the already heightened security on the ground in airports. These additional...
Apologize for the interruption there. We're going to take you to Phoenix, Arizona now. Senator John McCain now speaking with reporters. We shall listen to the senator now.
Tomorrow I'll be on a conference call with airline executives. And I think that it's important that the government act to assist the airlines and keep them from going out of business. It's a serious situation, obviously, that has been made dramatically worse by the acts of terror. So I would anticipate by the end of this week, when I go back to Washington, that we should be putting together some package of assistance to the airlines.
What will that entail? How much?
It's a variety of proposals, and we haven't gotten to the point yet of exactly what that package would be. We owe the taxpayers the benefit here as well. One of the areas that I am very confident that we can act on is government-guaranteed loans to some of these airlines. The additional measures, there's been as many as 20 or 30 proposals. So we've got to work with the White House, with the airline industry, and the Congress all working together. And we just have to think it through, and that's why I say it would probably be the end of this week, early next week, before we could solidify that proposal.
Specifically America West. I mean, they took some of the biggest stock hits today. They're,
yes,
not one of the weakest airlines, but they're not one of the most financially sound. I mean,
America West is in significant difficulty. American, Delta,
Is it likely that we're going to
Continental.
lose airlines in this?
Pardon me?
Is it likely, we already lost Midway, will we lose more?
I don't know. I know that they're experiencing extreme difficulty, and that's why I think we have to act on behalf of all the airlines that are experiencing problems. It is a national interest issue if we're in danger of losing the services of our major airlines.
Is this package, will this be in the billions? I know there's a number of proposals.
I don't know.
And let's kind of swing into the economy. I mean, obviously you're paying attention today. I mean, are we going to take a quick hit? Is it going to be a long hit? What's going to happen in your crystal ball?
I have great difficulty in predicting what's going to happen in the economy, except to say the following. One, the underpinnings of our economy are very strong. So whatever happens is going to be temporary. Second, we're going to be pumping a lot of money into the economy in the form of reconstructing New York City, the Pentagon. We've already have sent $40 billion into the economy. We'll be sending a lot more. And hopefully this will act as a stimulus in short term. Second point and final point is the quicker we get back to normal, the more likely the economy is to recover. As soon as Americans start traveling again, start buying again, start investing again, then that will dictate how quickly our economy gets back on its feet.
Is it going to take a larger tax cut out of people's wallet, though, to finance a lot of things that need to be done, whether it's federalizing security at airport or anything else?
I think that a tax cut is going to be under consideration as well.
A tax cut?
A tax cut.
How can you pay for new things with a tax cut?
You're going to have to dig into the surplus as we are now. I think to increase taxes at this time would be a terrible mistake. So we may have to look at that. I think that literally every option in order to stimulate the economy is on the table.
Senator, what have you gleaned from your visit around the Valley today? What are the mood of the residents? I know you met with the firefighters.
The mood is one of sorrow, outrage, and commitment to this country and its future. I had the opportunity with meeting with firefighters, including some that are going to go to New York City on Wednesday. They're eager to go. They're eager to go into harm's way on behalf of their fellow citizens, and I think that's what citizens of Arizona are all about.
There was a murder over the weekend.
Yep.
Apparently it appears to have been related to American fervor, as the case may be.
What happened over the weekend and the murder of an innocent person is an outrage, a disgrace, and frankly an embarrassment to all of us who live in the Valley, and it should never, ever happen again and should never have happened before. It's a disgrace.
How do you stop it? What do you do?
Senator McCain out in Arizona giving his support to government-backed loans for the airline industry. We told you that the airline industry is already indicating some very tough times ahead. Since Tuesday's attacks, American and other major carriers have lost at least $1 billion already. A source at American Airlines tells CNN the company expects as early as midweek to announce job cuts. U.S. Airways just announced plans to slash 11,000 jobs. Northwest plans to announce an unspecified number of layoffs as early as this Thursday, and over the weekend, Continental announced 12,000 layoffs. Among the factors affecting the industry, a fear of flying since last Tuesday's attacks.
We're into uncharted waters here. I don't think any of us can really predict exactly when it would come back, but certainly from the standpoint of the industry, we are expecting a lengthy amount of time before we get back to the levels that would have prevailed otherwise.
Some analysts say this year's losses by U.S. airlines will top $5 billion. And what to do for the airline industry? Joining now, CNN congressional correspondent Kate Snow on Capitol Hill. Kate, there's already a difference of opinion from the two sides.
Well, there is, Joey. I mean, the consensus is that something probably needs to be done for the airlines, but I can tell you that there's a bit of a difference when it comes to the price tag. What we're learning today is that the senior-most Democrat on the House Transportation Committee, Mr. Oberstar, is talking now about twice as much money for the airlines than what was being talked about just 2 days ago. Mr. Oberstar now talking about providing $5 billion in direct cash payments to the airlines, and then on top of that, other additional loan guarantees, and they're even now looking at things like repealing the jet fuel tax that airlines have to pay. All of this coming because